Hey, are you ready to go supersonic? Are you ready to be the best version of you that you can be? Well, check this out. God didn't get you this far just to give up on you. There's something you need to know though. There's a blessing in the lesson. Another thing I want you to know is that you found the right broadcast, you found the right place. Let's journey this together. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is PD from the Purpose from Pain show, where we realize that there is purpose in every little ounce of pain that we go through. That life is full of trials and tribulations, but those trials and tribulations do not define who and what we are. And I realize that there's a superhuman quality in each and every person. The problem is that we either don't know how to access it or we don't know how to utilize what we have so that we can be the best version of ourselves. I mean, that's it. But the one thing that really stuck out to me this past week is the fact that here at Purpose from Pain, we're a tribe, we're a family. And the problem is that you don't know who I am. You just see this man standing out there trying to give motivational advice or trying to tell you that I want you to be the best version of you that you can be. But if we aren't intimate in that aspect about letting each other know who and what we are, if we're not being transparent and authentic in our identity of who we are, then how can we grow a family? How can we be a family? And that was something that was on my mind for the past week or so. And that's why you get me. I don't have a guest. I'm not interviewing anybody, but you got me. And the first thing I'm going to say is if you have any questions on identity, on the superhero quality that I believe is in each and every one of you, if you're falling short and want to know more about your identity, drop a note in the DMs and let me know, and I'll be glad to get back to you, and we can start that journey and that conversation today. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a teacher, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, but there was a lot to it before then because I did a lot of searching and a lot of trying to find who and what Michael is, who is PD. And believe me, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I mean, I've gone through my trials and tribulations, and I go through my trials and tribulations every single day, just like everybody else. I'm human, just like everybody else. But I go through the same trials and tribulations, but I realize that there's purpose in every ounce of pain. But one thing I wanted to share with you was that the beginning of who is PD and how I got to where I was. See, when I was 2 or 3 years old, I went through a very traumatic injury as a kid. Matter of fact, it was a TBI. It was a traumatic brain injury, and it was nobody's fault. I guess it was my fault or somebody's fault, but I was a little kid. I was about 2 or 3 years old, and I saw these big kids, and I emulated these big kids. I wanted to be a big kid, and I didn't want them to see me as the little toddler that I was. And I don't know if I irritated them to death or what, but eventually they let me play baseball with them. But they let me play the catcher. Now, I don't know why they would let a little 2 or 3 year old be the catcher, but hey, that's where I am today. I was the catcher, but apparently someone wasn't looking and they didn't see where I was standing. And so when this kid swung back with this bat and he swung, the bat connected to my head and it really took me for a loop. My mom says that she saw a vision or felt that I was hurt. And within moments, I was rushed upstairs, and I never lost consciousness, but I was very lethargic for a while. And within that time frame is when she took me to the emergency room, and they realized that I had forgotten the majority of what I had learned. I didn't even know what an egg was, and I couldn't even walk on my own. And so I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And the problem there was that they didn't have the same technology and information that they had back then. All they knew was that I had a TBI and that there was not much that they could do. And so within those weeks, they sent me home with my mom. And I had to learn from my mom everything that I had forgotten, and she retaught me everything. And I thank God for that, that I learned all those things. But as I began to see this, I began to do some studying on the brain and understanding who and what I was. But I always had this inkling in my heart that there was something more, that there was this extra that was missing out of my ordinary. But I knew that there was something in each and every one of us, and that was my heart. That there's an extra in everybody's ordinary so that they can be extraordinary, so that they could be the best version of themselves. And just like, most kids, I grew up in the church, and I had prophecy after prophecy over my life of who and what I was and who I was to be. But the problem was I didn't have a foundation of who I was, of who is PD, of who Michael Samuels is. And I took what other people said and I began to build off of a faulty foundation, let me say that. And so over years and over life, I went to college to be a pastor because that's what I believe that people wanted me to be, or who I was supposed to be. And I thought that maybe if I searched those things that I would find myself. And that's what a lot of us do. We fake it till we make it so that we can be the best version of ourselves. But that's not going to happen, because when you fake it till you make it, you're not being your authentic self. And you want to know the truth. It's okay to say you don't know who you are, so that you can build upon that, so you can build a foundation and those branches to be the best version of yourself. But there was a problem with that as I grew up, because I didn't know who I was. And so I was building off of a faulty foundation, like in the Bible where God says, if you build the house on sand, it's not going to stand. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was not building my foundation on a firm foundation, but on what I heard other people believe who and what I was in the spirit, to what other people's perceptions of me became my reality, and sooner or later became my destination. So I'm going to fast forward, and because I had gone through so many different jobs and I could not be happy. I was not happy with each job. I just knew that there was more. I knew that there was a little bit of extra in my ordinary, but I didn't know who it was, how it was, or how it was to become. All I knew is that it was there. And so I was beyond frustrated. I went through job after job after job, relationship after relationship after relationship, and I didn't have a firm foundation to build any of this on. And I believe the majority of that became a firmer foundation when I joined the Denver Police Department, because I had an idea of who I was. I knew who I wanted to be, but at the same time, I didn't know what I wanted to be. But at the same time, it built a firmer foundation than the one that I had. But there was a specific time towards the end of my career where I was in an accident, and I did lose consciousness this time. And a long story short, I did lose consciousness, and it did affect my brain quite a bit. I was on duty but off duty for a year, for you that understand that. But I still didn't know what was going on. I mean, I could assimilate the basis of life, but there were things that I did on a regular basis that I couldn't remember if I walked away from it. As simple as taking medication in the morning, I would sit it on the counter and forget it all day, because as soon as I moved away from it, I lost all understanding or forgot all about it. And all I knew is that something wasn't right. And so doctor after doctor began to research my mind. I went through neurological tests and different type of tests, and they realized that there was something wrong, and so they got the right doctors, and they helped me to understand, you know, not who I was, but what was going on. And I could build upon that and train upon that. And my foundation got stronger. And matter of fact, my mom said that one of the times that she saw me become more alive was after that accident, because the right doctors began to help me and they began to walk me through the process so that I could be a complete person. And those were things that they didn't have back when I was when I was a toddler, when I had my first traumatic brain injury. So we fast forward, and I had built a foundation on what I thought I was, who I thought I was, which all in all became a perception of what other people saw me as, and that became my reality. And that built such a frustration in my spirit. It built a frustration in my mind that I wasn't that person, but this is who people saw me as. And that frustration built and it built and it built. So to the point of today where I realized there was something more. So let's talk about it. Do you know who you are? I do. I built my foundation on Jesus Christ, and I built my foundation on the man I am to be the man I am today. And everything else that's along with it is a branch that helps me to my destiny. It's kind of like the plane tickets that you purchase to get you to your destination. It's not the plane, but they're the branches to the tree. And when I realized that, when I understood that those things were just branches, then it maybe I did it backwards, but it helped me to understand the foundation that it was coming from. And when I built that firm foundation, those branches on those trees and those roots that were from the tree to the ground became firm and solidified. And that's when I knew who I was. See, I knew there was an extra that needed to be added to everybody's ordinary. I realized that everybody had that little bit of extra and that there was a superhuman quality in each and every person. And if they could find it and access it and utilize it, that they could be the best version of themselves that they could be, that they could step out and that they could be the person that God designed them to be ultimately. And believe me, for the longest time, I struggled with that. I fought with that. People told me left and right who they thought I was, what they thought I was, and I built my foundation on that. But it's when you build your foundation and you understand who you are, that your identity becomes your true understanding of your character and your integrity. That's all I want to do. I want to help you understand from the get-go who and what you are, that you help you find your identity so that the people around you, the people that you love, can also become the best version of themselves. And I didn't understand that I was doing such a disjustice, not to myself, but to those around me, because the gifts that God gives you is not necessarily for you, but those gifts are also for those around you. See, when you build upon those gifts, God gave you those gifts so you can give them to someone else so that they can be the best version of themselves. Simply that. And when you know who you are, the character and integrity that you carry will be solidified in a firm foundation. Genesis 1:26, God said he created us in his image and his likeness. And if you break it down and go into it, there's so much more. I mean, that's a loaded verse. But when you break it down, you understand that you have the qualities and the characteristics of your Father. You have the qualities and characteristics of your Creator. That's all I want to do. I want to help you find it. I want to help you access it. I want to help you utilize it so that you can be the best version of yourself, so that you can walk in a solidified firmament and that you can help someone else to be the best version of themselves. So let's do that. Contact me today. You can text me at 1-303-529-2522. and get your journey started. Get your journey to identity started, and let's help you be the best version of yourself that you can be. Yo, God bless. This is PD, and I'm out. Yo, I am beyond excited. I'm ecstatic. This is just one of the levels beyond so many that's being added on to Infinite Global Enterprises here in the future. So, hey, do like the content says, text me, call me. It's such an easier way to get in touch with me. I'm so glad we added it on. But hey, do it and let's get the conversation started. God bless. This is PD, and I'm out. Identity is the governor of your life. It controls the temperatures on whether or not you're going to be hot or whether or not you're going to be cold. It is a unit that determines your successes or your failures. It then establishes in life whether or not you're going to be trapped or you're going to be free. Let's change that. I'm PD. I'm the identity strategist. Could you imagine living life if you could do that uninhibited? Well, that's what I do. I help you access that superpower that's within. And I help you to live life as the best version of you that you can be. I help you to live your A game 24/7. So let's do that. Let's journey this together. Let's go.